Well, hey guys, it's Brandon from Big B Knows Best 42 here. Let me just start out this video by throwing a bone of hello to the fine folks at Gillette. The company of Gillette, the number one makers of men's shaving gear in the nation, were probably some of the most brilliant minds in the history of the United States of America. And we're going to get into just why that is while I hold up two of my most usual facial weapons, the Gillette Mach 3 razor and the Gillette Mach 3 Turbo razor. I don't know if there's any Chicago Cubs fans on my channel. Go Cubs. Just so happen to be wearing that today on a all blue day. Try to match and color coordinate as best I can, but getting off topic a little bit there. Here is how Gillette successfully manipulated the men's shaving industry. Shaving started very primitively, obviously enough, with the straight razor. The kind of razor that flipped open, it was one long blade and you could use at barbershops. I personally have never used one, and I never will, while I have used the next step up, which is a safety razor, which does give a superb shave, and I will soon be reinvesting in one and trying to find one that I like really, really well. And I'm excited to use that on my channel in some future shaving videos. The reason that after some time the straight razor, a double-edged safety razor, was invented is that it required considerably less skill for a person to use. A barber, in order to pass barbering school, still to this day has to master shaving. And there are not too many barbershops that even do a shave anymore, but those who do still use a straight razor. A barber has to be able to pass multiple tests successfully shaving another man's face with a straight razor before he can get on his barbering license and go out and start cutting some head hair. And also at that point, men started also wanting to just shave in their home and not have to go to the barber every day. Just once a month for a haircut, or maybe every 2 weeks for a trim. So more companies like Gillette were having to invent razors. In order to advance in the market, they had to come up with a way to make more razors, and in a way that would last for a long time. One of the reasons people are appreciating a safety razor now is in the fact that the double-edged razors make a really good use in a time where we're economically struggling. The handle on one of those could predictably last the rest of your life. I'm 33 years old and could think I could never have to buy a handle to another razor for the rest of my life if I lived to be 90. And that would free up a lot of money for a lot of other great things for me, because I don't have a lot of money. So that would be great to think that I could never have to buy a razor again. Just blades, which, by the way, are only 25 cents or so, something like that, for the one blade that screws in the cartridge at the top. Cartridge razors, on the other hand, what they had decided they needed to do was start making inferior blades that were still sharp enough to cut, and to put more blades together, which clog up quicker and easier get dull faster and need to be replaced. In that time, they convince you that more blades means that each one is able to do an easier and better job and give you a cleaner shave in the sense that it's the one blade would be having to do too much work and be. The fact of the matter is, it only takes one really sharp blade to get an incredibly close, comfortable shave. Each blade is only so big, so it's not about saving time per se, even though they do say that, and in this case, one claim Gillette does make, and that more blades, that is more area that it can cover at once. I mean, there is the big argument, honestly, about, I'm a fan of the, I've looked into before, I'm a little bit of a car geek here, but we've looked into the twin turbo EcoBoost V6 engine in the Fords, the 3.5 liter engine. And while some people say, with the twin turbo makes as much or more power than a V8 while using less gas and less engine, there are the V8 purists that say that you can't replace displacement. You can't have more with less. In other words, and while that is true, shaving doesn't require multiple blades. It only requires one blade that's really sharp, that's used gently so you don't cut yourself. What you're actually doing is, if I were to take this razor and go straight down to my jawline like I would normally do on my first time on my first pass, well, that's one stroke. That's 3 passes because there's 3 blades. But I'm going to go over it a few times because it's going to clog up. I might have to tap it out. I need to cut more whiskers off so that when I attempt to cut closer to the skin by going against the grain, I'm not tugging and pulling, which causes more nicks and cuts and razor burn. So in other words, Gillette has convinced you that if you have more, you'll get better. Well, in order to get more, which is what they tell you you need, and they make the product look very attractive, you need to spend more. You could spend about $15 a month on 4 refill blades of these Gillette Mach 3 cartridges. You could go out to about anywhere and get this Philips Norelco rotary shaver, and you never would get anywhere nearly as close of a shave, although that might be okay to some and enough to plenty that they would go for a larger initial upfront cost in order to not ever have to buy a razor for predictably 3 to 5 years, possibly much longer in some cases. Already right there you're saving money, but you have the case of the single blade cartridges, the single blade for the double-edged razors, which cost cents per piece. You can get about 5 of them for about 17 cents each at most places. And they'll last longer because it's only one blade, and it's very sharp. It's a lot sharper than the razors on your cartridge razors, like your Gillettes and your Schicks, that are multi-blade razors. And so you could get more shaves out of them. But Gillette convinced multiple people, and believe me, it really didn't sink in for me until about a year ago. And I watched razors where people did the brushes and scuttles and mugs and lathers, and and used fancy double-edged razors, and I could see that it was a good investment, but I just thought, nah, it can't be too much better for me to, it was too radical of a switch until I really thought about it. I mean, one of the most ridiculous claims Gillette made, and I thought about that years ago, is you'll see the lube strips right here, when they fade to a white color, that you're no longer getting the optimal shave that you're going for. That may or may not be true. They make it suggest that this indicator actually knows the condition of the blades and is trying to tell you that you deserve to get a better shave. Well, you'll do it. You'll put the cartridge in the garbage after 3 shaves, plop on a new one, do another 3-4 shaves off that blade, throw it away, back to the store, another $17 spent, back to the store to do the same thing in a month. I don't even know what that comes to each year, but you gotta figure do that about 3 months, and you're at one of these, which you wouldn't have to do about anything with for 2 years. And that would be just replacing the blades, maybe, which, with that, there's a way that you can sharpen the blades and never have to spend a cent until it's time to go out and get a new electric shaver. But that's just something to think about. Gillette was that brilliant that they sold you a complete line of BS. And a lot of us bought it for the longest time until the economy became so depressed that it was time that men had to start putting a little bit of thought into cutting back expenses on simple daily routines in order to think about saving just a little more money for a little bit of fun sometimes, like a day at the lake or a day at the golf course or something like that. Just my 2.5 cents to weigh in on something shaving related, because we do a lot of those on this channel. Leave me a comment below on your thoughts. If you like this channel, you want to subscribe, hit that bell for notifications, hit that like button. Let me know of anything you'd like to see in the future. Take it easy.